Good morning. This is Ron Mickens coming to you once again from Lakeland, Florida. This is our 11th video. You're going to get the facts today. Fraud upon the court. You be the judge. Whether Stewart Title Information Service Corporation purchased injustice. This is the only logical answer / explanation. This is our statement of the case today. Well, let me just say it this way. This is our statement of facts. So here we go. Judge Harvey A. Constein claims orders and judgments are fraud, void, and of no legal effect. The fraudulent orders and judgments are being used as a setup to fraudulently imprison us or to be used to murder us. Justification to murder us or to have us murdered by first responders. Stewart Title Guaranty Company fraudulent, fabricated foreclosure is a perfect example of Judge Constein fraudulent order. It's a setup. It's a setup to give first responders an opportunity and justification to imprison Ron and Gloria Mickens for imprison or even have us killed for exercising and executing our constitutional and civil rights. Our rights to possess, occupy, use, control, and enjoy our private residential property. Judge Constein fraudulently fabricated, created judgment in favor of Stewart Title of Polk, Miss Elaine P. Canady, and Miss Edith Rewis, who lack standing. They lack a right to sue. They lack a cause of action. Ladies and gentlemen, do you see how fraudulent their judgments are? They had unclean hands. Okay? We didn't know these people. Remember that. We never heard of them. How in the world could they be given a judgment against Ron and Gloria Mickens? The Damrons lost on all counts of their complaint. They had absolutely no right to any relief in equity or law. This was as a consequence of their fraudulent acts, of their fraudulent misconduct. Judge Constein, stay with me, Judge Constein granted the Damrons a fraudulent judgment based on Judge Cecilia M. Moore's fraudulent misrepresentation that Ron and Gloria Mickens essentially desired and sought rescission. Judge Constein fraudulently misrepresented that Ron and Gloria Mickens failed to permit discovery. We're talking about some post-trial order to permit discovery or to inspect property. This was to create some fraudulent evidence to support a judgment for the Damrons for the cost of materials and labor. Okay? All of his judgments, all of Judge Constein's judgments is predicated on State Attorney Jerry Hill and his fraudulent misrepresentation that we, Ron and Gloria Mickens, temporarily transferred our property to Damron Construction Company. This is a fraudulent misrepresentation. It is a direct contradiction to Judge Strickland's findings on the merits of our 5 claims and on the merits of Judge Moore unsolicited evaluations. Okay. Now, what made Judge Moore order on motion for judgment fraudulent? Judge Moore fraudulently misrepresented that we, Ron and Gloria Mickens, desired and sought rescission. That is what rendered her unsolicited findings, her unsolicited evaluation to be fraudulent. All the facts and findings are in our favor, but this fraudulent misrepresentation that we desired and sought rescission made it all fraudulent. So stay with me. This is a statement of fact. This is the truth. So you got to stay with me. Damron did not, and they could not, have a claim for the cost of materials and labor. The construction of the residence and pool on the Mickens property, that's our property, was not a consequence of accident, error, mistake, or happenstance. It was as a consequence of specific acts of fraud. Jerry Hill, Don Pale, and Judge Constein fraudulently misrepresented that Miss Canady made a mistake, error, accident, or it was in happenstance. This is in direct contradiction to what Judge Strickland found and Judge Moore in their findings. A lie can only lead to another lie. You cannot get the truth out of a lie, like Jerry Hill, Judge Constein, and Judge Moore is attempting to do. This is unheard of by judges. Stay with me. Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Stewart Title of Polk, Canady, Rewis, Harman-Highsmith, and the Damrons, they conspired and agreed to commit these crimes. They conspired and agreed to commit organized fraud, scheme to defraud, racketeering, grand theft, conspiracy, fraud, bank fraud, mortgage fraud, wire fraud, real estate fraud, fraud inducement, fraudulent transfers, fraudulent encumbrance with the mortgage of our property, fraudulent conversion of our title, slander of our title, forgery, false pretenses, extortion, false notarizing, false witnessing, misfeasance, malfeasance, failure to validate signatures, performance of prohibited acts by a notary, we go on, false preparing, false execution, false delivering, false recording of a quit claim deed. You see the point. This was not an accident. It was outrageous. It was intentional. It was malicious. It was willful. It was negligent. Okay. Stay with me. State Attorney Jerry Hill, Judge Strickland, Judge Moore, 2nd District Court of Appeals, 2nd DCA judges, Federal District Court Judge, Judge Lazara, and the 11th Circuit Court judges. They were all purchased by Stewart Information Service Corporation. That is the only logical conclusion. And they did this. The corporation paid them all to cover up Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Stewart Title of Polk, Canady, Rewis, and Highsmith criminal and tort acts. This is what it was all about. Their license was subject to forfeiture. So stay with me. State attorney, this is why they made these fraudulent misrepresentations. Covering up. You see the cover up. State attorney Jerry Hill, Judge Strickland, Judge Moore, 2nd DCA, Federal District Court, Lazara, 11th Circuit Court, they conspired and agreed to misuse Judge Moore fraudulent misrepresentation that Ron and Gloria Mickens desired and sought rescission to abort, abandon, avert, avoid, circumvent, set aside, vacate, omit, void, ignore, dismiss, reverse, overturn, replace, supplant Judge Strickland's adjudicated findings on the merits of our fraud, cancellation of deed, quantity, ejectment, and breach of contract claims and causes of action. Judge Moore used her fraudulent misrepresentations to dismiss, avert, avoid, abort, abandon, ignore, omit, circumvent, set aside, or vacate claims and causes of action against the Damron's co-conspirators. That's Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Stewart Title of Polk, Canady, Rewis, and Highsmith, and the state attorney, property appraiser, and the sheriff. So stay with me. Stay with me. This is all about Judge Moore's fraudulent misrepresentation. Okay, so stay with me. Judge Moore misused her fraudulent misrepresentation that we, Ron and Gloria Mickens, essentially desired and sought rescission to fraudulently authorize Judge Cohnstein to fraudulently fabricate or create fake judgment to set us up to be murdered, to lock us up in prison for exercising our constitutional rights. We should be able to occupy, possess, use, control, and enjoy our property. But this one fraudulent misrepresentation that she made deprived us of everything. On appeal, check it out, stay with me. On appeal and cross appeal, both parties corroborated and agreed that Judge Moore had fraudulently misrepresented that Ron and Gloria Mickens desired and sought rescission of the construction contract. Rescission was not even available. It was unavailable as a matter of law. We had an adequate remedy at law under our breach of contract action and our fraud action. Both parties was denied. Both parties corroborated that we were both denied due process and equal protection. And our complaint, our counterclaims, our cross claims, our third party complaint, all proves what we sought and what we desired. Okay, Judge Moore made this egregious. Oh, this outrageous fraudulent misrepresentation. That was a setup to deprive us. This is a judge depriving us of our constitutional and civil rights based on lies. So stay with me. Based upon the state attorney, Jerry Hill and Don Pale, Miss Canady fraudulent misrepresentations and misstatements, Judge Cohnstein created these fraudulent claims, orders, and judgments against Ron and Gloria Mickens. Jerry Hill and Don Pale misrepresented. This is this constant misrepresentation. They misrepresented that Ron and Gloria Mickens temporarily transferred our property to Damron Construction Company. That is a fraudulent misrepresentation. That is a lie. And these lies, you can't forget this, is in direct contradiction to Judge Strickland's findings and Judge Moore unsolicited findings or evaluations. Tremendous lie that Jerry Hill and Don Peel perpetrated. They're lying. Okay, let's go on. Jerry Hill and Don Peel and Judge Cohnstein, they outrageously, shockingly, maliciously, intentionally, willfully, negligently, fraudulently misrepresented that the Damrons were supposed to get a construction mortgage loan to build our house from Chase Bank in Tampa. This is in direct contradiction to Judge Strickland's findings. So stay with me. This is a lie. These are the lies that they're predicating on to create these fraudulent orders and judgment. Jerry Hill, State Attorney Jerry Hill and Don Peel, they condoned, they made these fraudulent misrepresentation to condone, cover up, and conceal Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Stewart Title of Polk, Canady, and Rewis and Highsmith's, criminal acts and torts. State attorney failed to hold these people accountable. Okay, make sure we understand this point. This is why he cut this thing off, talking about just a false notarization. He wouldn't go any further. He knew that these people had committed all of these criminal acts because the property was never conveyed. It was fraudulent. So he's got to cover it up by lying, saying that we transferred the property. So all of them are going on this premise that we transfer our property. But the trial judge says different. Judge Moore says different. So they're just violating adjudicated findings by a judge. This is what's going on today. It's a criminal act that's still being perpetrated today. Judge Moore fraudulently imposed her fraudulent misrepresentation that we, Ron and Gloria Mickens, essentially desired and sought rescission to fraudulently cover up State Attorney Hill, Judge Constein, their conspiracy, their cover-up, their fraudulent facts, issues, claims, and orders. Everything in direct contradiction to the trial judge findings of facts and conclusions of law. This is why it's a cover-up all the way up until the day, based on that lie that we transferred our property to Elaine Damron. The federal district court adopted these fraudulent misrepresentations, started with Jerry Hill and his cover-up. So I know you see my point. Okay. Judge Moore fraudulently misrepresented and deprived Ron and Gloria Mickens of all of our constitutional rights. Judge Moore fraudulently misrepresented that we essentially desired and sought rescission to unlawfully set aside, overturn, reverse, abort, annul, void, abandon, omit, avert, dismiss, ignore, not just Judge Strickland's, but her own unsolicited findings, her findings of facts and conclusions of law. So you be the judge. You be the judge. It's not that complicated. In the words of Ida B. Wells, the way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them. So this is what it's all about. The truth is in the details. It's coming. Oh, we got one more piece. We got one more piece to go. Oh, this is history in the makings. If you get these facts, these findings, facts, they're undisputed. They cannot be denied. And this is not me saying this. You got to remember that. I'm not a judge and I'm not a lawyer. I'm just an honest citizen doing everything that I can to be an honest and decent human being and family man. I want to be able to create values for this society that's going to benefit everyone. So stay with me. Stay with me. Stand up. Pass this video on. So it's coming. So make sure you stay tuned. Subscribe. Share. I'll talk to you later. Bye.